What's going on, guys? Wolf here. Today is the day. We are starting week 1 of the new TCL Season 2, the Tournaments Championship League, aka the official league of the PokeTube Reddit. Today is going to be the Team Builder. It's actually going to be the Team Builder and the match. The reason why is I didn't actually find out that Team Builders were uploaded on Fridays until yesterday, which would be Friday. So a little behind this week, so the team builder is going to be this morning. The actual match play is going to be later tonight, and then starting next week, it'll be team builders on Friday, and then the actual match on Saturday. So, how hard was it to team build, basically? That was the definitely the question to ask going into the team build this week. Uh, First of all, props to the guys over at the EGL, the Evergrande League. I had a few guys definitely help me out with the team building this week because the team building was rough. My opponent this week in the first week of the TCL is none other than Grant of the Cinnabar Island Scizors. Supposedly, from what I've been told and what I keep hearing in the league as we're chatting, is that he's one tough cookie. He did make it to the finals first season, so he definitely knows his game. So I am prepared for the worst, basically. Um, Now, his team, essentially, as you can see on the screen in the new team builder layout, he's got a pretty frightening team. Mega Charizard X and Kieran Black uh, as effective wall breakers or setup sweepers with Mega Charizard X. He also has Ferrothorn and Reuniclus as defensive cores. He's got things like Donphan for a rock setter or possibly even a spinner. Rotom Heat, obviously, for the overheats, volt switches, stuff like that. Gastrodon, another solid defensive threat. Hitmonlee, another solid offensive threat because of Unburden and Fake Out and Normal Gem, which is pretty much the only set worth using in League. And then there's some other stuff like Durant, which is exceptionally fast. Gourgeist, which is bulky. You got things like Crustle for Shell Smash stuff. I'm not really expecting stuff like that. I got a plan for Kieran Black, uh, Charizard X, and Ferrothorn, and to a lesser extent, Reuniclus and Hitmonlee. Those are basically like his key threats. Um, as far as his sixth, I mean, it's pretty open. Gastrodon would be a really good threat to block things like my Electros and Rotom Fan. Um, but since I have Mega Venusaur, he may not decide to bring it because Mega Venusaur eats Gastrodon up. Um, he does have access to, like I said, Gourgeist. Gourgeist would be another solid defensive threat. Um, I don't really have a ton of answers to it other than something like Infernape or Scrafty, of course. Speaking of which, Scrafty is our man today. Scrafty has the coverage with Drain Punch, Knockoff, and Stone Edge on this set to hit all but 3 things super effectively. So that's 9 things out of his 12 team members that he can hit super effectively right off the bat. Couple that with a Dragon Dance set and Moxie with a Life Orb, and after pretty much one boost, he can one-shot anything. Moxie just keeps that pain train rolling, increasing his attack for every kill. Now, uh, even though we do have 252 in speed, we are running Adamant because it will offer us less investment to be able to one-shot Kieran Black after a +1. In fact, 96 with an Adamant is exactly enough to guarantee the kill on Kieran Black after a +1, uh, which we can definitely survive any hit by it, even from something like a Choice Band set. So I'm not too worried about not being able to live. We will be able to live any one hit, Dragon Dance up, and then Revenge Kill and Drain Punch on the next turn. So um, I was kind of debating uh, between Dragon Dance and Bulk Up. This was actually one of the things that the EGL guys helped me with. Uh, Basically, it came down to Bulk Up is better um, against Kieran Black specifically because of its mixed wall breaking sets, because Bulk Up obviously runs special defense set, and then after one Bulk Up, he pretty much can't touch me. However, I like Dragon Dance because there are a couple other fast threats on his team. Again, things like Hitmonlee. I need to get to a +2 to outspeed a Hitmonlee reliably. Things like Mega Charizard. I need to get to a +1 to outspeed Mega Charizard before it even boosts. Stuff like that. So, bulk up was potentially nice, but in the end, Dragon Dance is better for this specific team. Now, uh, as you'll see throughout the team, I will touch on it here first though. We have a lot of HP investment on most of our Pokemon. Now, the reason why that is there's a lot of really close speed ties here, so I don't need to invest a lot of speed in all the rest of my mons. Scrafty, I think, is probably one of the only ones that has 252 speed. Everything else can skimp a little bit, and that allows me to kind of bump up the HP a little bit and throw off his calcs a little bit, because I don't know if he's planning on, say, Reuniclus Focus Blast to have just enough attack power to kill Scrafty, but um, I'm hoping that some of these HP calcs will kind of throw off his game a little bit. So, in terms of why we picked the moves we did, I mean, obviously we talked about Dragon Dance. Drain Punch, of course, is good recovery and hits quite a lot of his things super effectively. Kieran Black is the main one, though. Knockoff, of course, hits pretty much everything that Drain Punch can't. Things like Gourgeist, things like Reuniclus. Um, those are the main two that hit super effectively, but Knockoff is just excellent coverage after a Dragon Dance anyways. And then Stone Edge is specifically for Mega Charizard, although it does hit Rotom Heat as well. So overall, excellent set. I really love this set. It's going to be probably one of our main attackers. Essentially, Scrafty, Venusaur, and Latias are going to be our main go-to people for kills this week, and then everything else is going to be supporting that fact. And we'll get into those in just a second. So, uh, Scrafty's our main attacker here. Our main defensive threat, however, is Mega Venusaur. Scrafty can hit everything super effectively except for Donphan, Gastrodon, and Hitmonlee. And out of those, the biggest threats, of course, are Gastrodon and Hitmonlee, simply because Gastrodon has Scald, and Hitmonlee can tear up Scrafty with that Unburdened Fake Out first turn, and then get it with a close combat or a high jump kick on the next turn before I can even touch it. So Venusaur is our go-to tank to handle both of those. Uh, Obviously, tanks pretty much all of Hitmonlee's move pool. Close combats don't touch it. Fake out don't touch it. We are pretty physically invested this week in terms of handling Gastrodon. Giga Drain obliterates it because it's stab. We do have Synthesis as stalling alongside Leech Seed, so it can handle the bulkier threats. It can actually stand toe to toe with some variants of Kieran Black simply by just getting the Leech Seed on the switch and just spamming Synthesis over and over. Or better yet, if it's choice locked on, say, a Scarf or a Band, which are both pretty common, I can get a switch in on something like a Dragon Claw or an Outrage, which I can tank a lot better, Leech Seed it up, and then Synthesis stall it. So, Knockoff is used over Sludge Bomb. Um, Two reasons. One, obviously, extra utility is good. I love having knockoffs. I love having more than one knockoff. And being able to hit psychic types that are switching in on it, namely a Reuniclus. To hit it on the switch is going to do a decent amount of damage. I'm expecting somewhere like 30 to 50% depending on its stat investment. Um, Reason again why we didn't use Sludge Bomb. He only has one grass type in Gourgeist, and Gourgeist coincidentally is hit super effectively with knockoff, so I'm not too worried about Sludge Bomb. Um, Chlorophyll, of course, is the ability in case for some reason he brings Sun. The other ability, Overgrow, is essentially useless, so Chlorophyll is generally just the go-to ability so you can randomly outspeed things at times. The actual stat spread, we're going max HP for bulk since that's pretty much one of his lowest stats. Defensive bulk with a bold nature because I don't really care about knockoff's attack power. I'm more for utility on it. Why do we have 96 speed though? The reason why we have 96 speed on a Mega Venusaur to hit 219 speed is because Donphan with a Jolly Nature hits 218 speed, so we get to outspeed it by 1 point. So speed creep on the Donphan just because we can hit it super effectively and we might be able to stop something like a rapid spin or something like that. So that's our main defensive threat. These two, Scrafty and Venusaur, are going to be doing the majority of the work. Latias will be probably our little haymaker in a package, in a small, tiny package here. He is running a Choice Scarf, similar to how I ran in the EGL with Latios on my Rain team for Season 2. We're running it at 330 speed with a Choice Scarf to outspeed a Mega Charizard at +1. We want that emergency reset button if things go wrong. You always want to have a backup plan. The other stats are obviously 252 for special attack to get the most bang for our buck, and 76 in HP for bulk. Now, in terms of move slots, again, props to the EGL for helping me with this team, this particular move set. I was talking with the guys and we were looking at my opponent's team and we realized Scarf Latias tears through just about all of his team. Draco Meteor hits just about everything. The things that it doesn't hit are things like Ferrothorn and Durant, and that's what we have Hidden Power Fire for. Now, if we don't want the special attack drop, Psyshock is perfectly good coverage. It might hit things like Hitmonlee on the switch. We also have Trick to shut down Reuniclus, simply because Reuniclus is almost definitely going to be Trick Room, which means it's definitely got Trick Room and then either Calm Mind or Recover. So he's definitely going to have two moves at minimum that are going to be completely shut down with Trick. Now, in terms of Hidden Power Fire, obviously to hit the Ferrothorn and all them, Draco Meteor deserves special mention because with the Choice Scarf, again, it's an emergency reset button for Kyurem Black too. Kyurem Black, even with max speed nature, only hits 317. So with a Scarf Kyurem, our Scarf Latias outspeeds, and Draco Meteor is pretty much a guaranteed kill. So definitely an emergency reset button, but it works as an effective wall breaker. I expect to probably lead with either this or Tornadus Therian, and more than likely just start by dropping a Meteor and pivoting out into either Scrafty or Venusaur to start trying to set up. Now, again, those are our offensive threats, so the rest of the team is basically focused on getting those guys in. Now, Infernape, Tornadus Therian, and Electros all have U-turn. I want that switch momentum to get Scrafty and Venusaur in as much as I possibly can. The reason why I'm using U-turn over something like Volt Switch from Tornadus or Electros is, again, Gastrodon. He's got a ground type that I'm almost certain he's going to be bringing. I mean, there's a pretty high possibility, and I don't want that to get blocked. So I'm using U-turn regardless of stab coverage just because I want that switch momentum. I value that a lot more than the extra little bit of damage. So, Air Balloon Infernape is going to be our dedicated Stealth Rock setter. I'm not expecting to lead with him, although I could. He does hit 330 speed. However, I don't expect Donphan to lead realistically. He's probably going to lead with one of either his main offensive threat, or he's going to switch into Ferrothorn and start setting up Stealth Rocks or Spikes or Thunder Wave, stuff like that. Ferrothorn's a pretty solid lead. So we are running Air Balloon to take on that Donphan, take on that Kyurem Black, take on that Charizard. All of those generally pack ground coverage. Some of those have the potential to outspeed Mega Charizard and Kyurem Black in particular after a Scarf or +1 will always outspeed Infernape and pretty much be able to kill it with ground coverage. So Air Balloon will help secure that 2-hit kill, which gives us enough time to either Stealth Rock, close combat the threat, or U-turn out. Taunt's our last move for, again, Reuniclus, being able to shut down Trick Room, being able to shut down Calm Minds, avoid being setup fodder. Since we are a little offensive, but just having the ability to taunt can help shut down certain game plans. Now we are using close combat with no fire coverage simply because close combat still hits Ferrothorn super effectively, and we get to maximize our attack for U-turn. In terms of fire coverage, Tornado Therian with Heat Wave generally is all the real fire coverage we need for this particular team because only one thing is really hit super effectively in Ferrothorn. Gourgeist does get hit obviously, but Scrafty can take care of Gourgeist just fine. So in terms of stat spreads, 192, again hitting that 330 speed benchmark. Outspeeds Mega Charizard X at 328 at a +0. So uh, definitely want to be able to outspeed that stuff. Fifth threat, of course, Tornado Therian. Standard Assault Vest threat. I need something that can tank hits, especially from things like Reuniclus. I do have Scrafty, of course, to take on Psychics and Psyshocks, but it generally runs Focus Blast, so I can't use Scrafty as a reliable tank. I can, however, use Tornado Therian because of Assault Vest and Regenerator. Heat Wave, obviously standard on most Tornado Therian sets. Air Slash over Hurricane because I absolutely cannot afford to miss on Hitmonlee if it comes in on the switch. Dark Pulse, of course, for Reuniclus in case I don't want to U-turn out quite that minute. And then, of course, U-turn for switch momentum. In terms of stats, we are hitting the speed mark for 349. Why 349? Simply because Durant hits 348. So we, again, speed creeping for killing those relevant threats. If Durant comes, Heat Wave can demolish it and we can outspeed it just fine. Last threat, I did agonize on this for a while. With the EGL guys, we talked about possibly using Dust Noir as a sixth, simply because we could use another choice band, another choice item set with Trick, uh, choice band locking Reuniclus into something, being able to use Earthquake on a choice band set against Mega Charizard X. It can take almost any hit and has a 50% chance to one-shot Mega Charizard X with Earthquake. But the problem is it's pretty easy to set up on. Will-O-Wisp doesn't touch Mega Charizard. I don't like being able to run a choice band set and getting locked into it with a defensive threat like that. I'm not a huge fan of those type of trick shenanigans. I'd much rather my trick users be more offensive, and I don't really want to bring uh, Dust Noir as an offensive threat in this matchup. The other major contention is if Venusaur goes down to like a lucky shot or a crit or something like that, or Kyurem takes it out early, I need something that can take on Gastrodon, which means I need a grass type coverage, and I don't have that on the rest of my team. So Electros gives me the switch momentum I want, gives me the grass coverage, gives me some extra rock coverage and some extra fighting coverage as well. Yes, I am running fighting coverage on 3 types, but they all happen to hit Kyurem Black super effectively. They all happen to hit Ferrothorn super effectively, so it's just overall really good coverage. He doesn't really have anything to resist it. He doesn't have flying types, given that Mega Charizard's going to Mega Evolve. So none of this stuff other than Gourgeist really matters, and I can U-turn out of Gourgeist. So we are not running any speed at all on this. I want that slow momentum from that switch, getting the slow U-turn off into Scrafty, so I have full health for setting up Dragon Dances. We are running max bulk, or max HP for like a bulky physical sweeper. I'll be honest, these stats are mostly just a traditional suggested spread from Smogon, simply because as long as it doesn't have speed and it has max attack, it just happened that max HP makes sense. So 8 special attack, I don't really care where these last 8 points go. It just happens to be where special attack gives me some tiny little bit more extra percentage with Giga Drain on Gastrodon. So it is what it is. That's the team though. Like I said, I am very excited to use this team. Scrafty and Venusaur are going to be our main 2 threats, and I don't expect him to be able to deal with either one of them very effectively. So uh, I'm pretty confident about this match. I think if I play my cards right and I don't screw up, I think I should be able to secure a pretty high differential with this match. So uh, look out, Grant, because I'm going to be coming and I'm going to be taking you down. So that'll be it. If you guys like the team, don't like the team, don't like me, I don't know, leave a comment below. Make sure to hit that like button because I do appreciate the support and the team appreciates the support. And I will see you guys later today for the match coverage. Take care.